here in our prayer garden on Capitol Hill, just behind our ministry center, of course, across the street from the Supreme Court, a block from the Capitol, 10 minutes from the White House, where very soon Constitution Avenue will be overwhelmed with the sound of rolling thunder as thousands of veterans tool down Constitution Avenue for the Memorial Day parade. So many of them veterans, all of them honoring the sacrifice of those who gave themselves and paid the ultimate price for their selflessness in giving their lives in service to their country, which, as we know, is an exquisite expression of love for God, for their fellow human beings, for their nation. Jesus said, "Greater love has no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friends." So giving your life is the most exquisite expression of love anyone can give. And that's why we honor those fallen veterans. And on this Memorial Day, I'm thinking about two people in particular. One of them is my uncle, Captain Robert L. Schenck, for whom I am named. Captain Schenck was a B-17 bomber pilot. Make sure I get that glare off of him so you can see his face. Over the European theater, flew a record number of missions during World War II, was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross here, as well as other medals and awards for his remarkable service. And then after surviving those harrowing bombing runs over Europe, felt he hadn't given enough for his country, so he re-upped and shortly thereafter died in a tragic air crash over the skies of Korea. I was given his name 6 years later when I was born to carry his memory on in our family. I'm very grateful to my father, whom I lost just about a year ago. He was also a veteran, so this Memorial Day is special for more than one reason in our family. And I want to reflect on Captain Robert L. Schenck in a minute, or Uncle Bobby as he was known in our family. But there's another man who's on my mind this Memorial Day, and it's this man, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who you may know was a German Lutheran pastor, young and brilliant theologian, moral philosopher, ethicist. By the way, this is a new biography on Bonhoeffer by Eric Metaxas. I highly recommend it. Bonhoeffer, pastor, martyr, prophet, spy. And the latter part is what I want to reflect on here. I just got back from a study tour of Bonhoeffer's life. He's been a hero of mine since my early Christian experience when someone gave me his book, The Call to Discipleship. Maybe you've read it. It helped shape and form me as a Christian. And I've read a lot of his writings since and followed his life and example. And this was a dream come true for me. I followed in his footsteps through Germany, Poland, and the Czech Republic, literally from his place of birth to his place of death when he was hanged by the Nazis on special order of Adolf Hitler for his role in a conspiracy. And this is what I want to talk about here. Bonhoeffer was principally a preacher, evangelist, prophet to his nation. He preached one Lord, Jesus Christ. He said Hitler's claim as Führer, or supreme leader, was an act of idolatry, and he rejected Adolf Hitler and National Socialism in Germany. And in the process, he became part of a conspiracy to overthrow Hitler and his regime. And of course, part of that was the assassination of the Führer. That was the plan. He would be assassinated in the process of this overthrow. Now, let me tell you how that hit me when I was in Germany and the other countries following this with two Bonhoeffer scholars from Canada, Professors Peter Frick and James Reimer. And as we talked about this, I realized how excruciating and agonizing this decision must have been for Bonhoeffer. Because Bonhoeffer knew that getting involved in this conspiracy that would include an assassination would in fact violate the commandment against murder. because it would be taking a human life outside the conventional prosecution of war or criminal prosecution. And he did not engage in some kind of moral relativism, some kind of situation ethics. He knew that this act would, for him, incur guilt, and in the process he would commit a sin for which he would have to seek forgiveness from God. Now, I can't even pretend to appreciate the agony of soul, mind, and conscience that required of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I've never had to face that kind of dilemma. So I can't even begin to fully appreciate the sacrifice that was given. It wasn't just his life. He would ultimately be hanged. I stood in the prison courtyard where he was hanged naked, humiliated in the last hours, the last minutes before this miserable death by hanging at the concentration camp in Flossenburg. But this depth of agony of soul and mind only added to the selflessness of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. He was willing to give not just his body, but his soul and his conscience for the sake of his fellow human beings. And that caused me to reflect on my own uncle, who was overhead in those days, in the skies, dropping tons of bombs on Germany. And I know my family's culture. I know that this man had to be a contemplative and reflective person. My uncle did not undertake these bombing missions with alacrity, recklessly, abandoning all conscience. I am sure when he returned safe from these missions and lay in his bunk at night, readying himself for the next run, that he had to have been in agony of mind and conscience, thinking about the fire and brimstone that he was raining down on the people of Germany, only adding to the suffering of so many, and yet with a view toward a higher good in liberating them. Now, it's easy for me to sit where I'm sitting in this beautiful prayer garden. And by the way, just a little shout out, thank you so much to Church on the North Coast and Pastors Louis and Tina Cayetan for helping us establish this quiet, safe, sacred place. Here, I'm very safe, not just in my body, but in my mind, soul, and spirit. Not so with Dietrich Bonhoeffer, where he was in Germany, or with my uncle over the skies in his B-17 bomber. These individuals were not in a safe, quiet, sacred place, but in the midst of hell. And they sacrificed so much, ultimately their lives, but before that, even their hearts, minds, and consciences. And I really, really am trying to understand that this Memorial Day. I hope this reflection helps you to appreciate how much these people give. It's far more than meets the eye. So with that, we give a tribute to all those who selflessly gave of themselves, heart, mind, soul, conscience, and body. Have a blessed Memorial Day weekend.